Good morning, curling fans, and welcome to some men's semifinal action here at the Crestwood Curling Center for the Platinum Anniversary Bonspiel. Our feature game is on sheet 5 today. We have Team Peter Hlushak versus Evan Van Amsterdam. Van Amsterdam starting with the hammer as they were the higher ranked team coming out of the round robin. On the mics today, you have Kate Goodhelpson.
And Robert Shaw. Now, is this the first rock being thrown, Kate?
Yes, it is. So we're just starting the first end, going live just in time. So both teams did have the pregame practice, but no last stone drawn was thrown. Again, Van Amsterdam getting the hammer automatically because of their better pool play record.
All right, that looks like a good first rock. Right on the center line. Now, for those that might not know, what is the no-tick rule?
The no-tick rule. So as long as a rock is touching the center line for the first 5 stones, that rock cannot be removed off the center line or out of the free guard zone. My team learned the hard way in the women's event when one of our first games, where even if the rock is still touching the center line and in the rings, it gets replaced. So the team has the option of replacing the stone, or they can just let it play out, but most teams do tend to replace the stones back to their original position.
All right, so that looked like it went a little bit deep, so it looks like the next team up is going to possibly place it right on the button.
Or even just sitting top 4, just starting off for an aggressive play here. Again, by putting the stone on top of this one top 4, then it really narrows down the scoring area for Team Van Amsterdam, and so they're going to have to make a play on it to get a better chance of getting 2 with the hammer here.
A little bit of a separation here, and Kate, do we know what the speeds are over the past couple days?
Yeah,
or could we find that out?
It's usually running. We've been clocking them to T-line about a 14.5 to a 15. Comes down a little bit towards the end of the game, so that's something that we're going to have to see if the teams are picking up on and watching out for when that speed changes. But big opportunity here for Team Van Amsterdam to try and get a tuck under. One thing that we've been noticing this weekend is there's lots of late finish, and so these soft weight hits and flops under guards are a huge part of the game this week. Really trying to move it over here, hanging a little bit more than they were expecting, I think.
A little bit of a tap.
So if you've been watching the stream earlier this week, you're probably wondering why we don't have the overhead view. We only have those cameras set up for sheets 3 and 4, and again, the final will be played on 4, so moving the semi over to 5, this is kind of the best option we have right now, but
Oh, nice little hit and roll.
rolls a hair too far, though, to block off this draw that Evan was just looking at.
So leaves a little bit of a pocket for the next team here. Oh, they're gonna decide to go on the other side. Okay. That
Again,
looked like a hit and roll signal.
Yeah, a little tap and roll. So again, with those 2 rocks in the 4-foot, even if Evan shot, like his scoring area to get 2 is really small. If he plays the out turn draw, there's the chance of the Hlushak team coming on top of him, and then you really have to move a lot of granite in a fewer amount of rocks. So
Quite a bit of sweeping happening here.
again, that late finish here, lots of curl. No one's really played that side of the sheet 2 yet, so might have gotten caught up in the frost a touch.
Looks like a good communication here with this particular team. They're really commenting, and it seems all the players are having a full discussion, which is always great for any team.
Looks like they opted for the draw here. Pretty good shot there for the Hlushak team. Shot stone now. Van Amsterdam opting for a soft weight split. Try and move that shot blue rock and roll open. Maybe give himself some opportunities to play off that.
Now, Kate, why would have this individual just been one person sweeping down the ice? Is there any particular name for this?
So for directional sweeping, the person who the rock is curling towards is really responsible for holding the line, right? And so if you're trying to stop it or slow the curl down or try and keep it straighter, the person who's closest, the rock's curling towards, is going to go closest to really kind of negate the curl as best they can. Whereas if you see the switch happen, so the outside of the rock who is curling away from is really going to try and help curl it more. So they're sweeping with the curl is the idea. Really well swept stone here. Team Hlushak. Looks like they're shot.
Was there any sort of tick on that one, or was that just placed well? Swept and placed well.
Swept and placed well. Maybe a slight rub off the blue,
rub.
but still puts it in a decent spot. So as Team Van Amsterdam is discussing their options, we'd like to give a shout out to the Crestwood Curling Center as one of kind of the sponsors of this event hosting. So the Crestwood is having their 70th anniversary, their platinum anniversary, if you will, this year. And so we'd like to congratulate them on 70 years, and a huge thank you to all of the staff who have helped make this event run, especially the ice makers, the office staff, the bartenders. And all of the volunteers they've had come out and help with hospitality, with the ice, with greeting. So huge shout out to the Crestwood Curling Center and a big thank you.
Yes, and also a big thank you to all the teams that participated in this. As a 70th, that's quite a big accomplishment, and we do thank you for joining and participating in this event. Now, with throwing a few rocks, we've got a couple different speeds, and would this be called control? At about
well, I don't
10
have a time on it, but yeah,
seconds.
but it's something that looks like about a control to a board weight. So most teams usually their control weights are kind of around the 10-second mark. Boards here is round kind of a high 11, so 11 and a half. But you definitely been seeing a lot of those kind of touch weight shots here this weekend, again with that late finish. So even if something's buried behind a guard, if the guard's high enough, it's still accessible. So lots of really interesting shot making here this week.
And so with the placement of this skip's broom, and I didn't manage to see where the shot was going, but I'm guessing that it possibly might be a button shot or a T-line weight.
Yeah, looks like they're just going to sit on top of the pocket, make it harder to kind of get at the two redstones sitting there. Seems to be hanging out there for them a little bit.
And this is quite something to have these many rocks in play in the rings.
Yeah. So Evan, they're signaling for the nose hit. Kind of with the overhead view that we had, it kind of looks like that there's an opportunity to potentially kill both of those top red ones. Big shot here, coming here for the Van Amsterdam team.
Oh, and it looks like it's going to be heavyweight here.
Oh, yes.
And did they manage to get two blues out? Is this the shot that they wanted?
No, blue's still sitting two. Looks like it might have overcurled just a hair for them.
We've got a replay going on. Okay. All right, we have the shot for stone from our skip. Looks like a guard.
Just trying to block off any angles Evan might have on that intern side. Over curls a little bit, keeps that blue rock open a hair. So if you hit that blue one thin, you should squirt that left blue one kind of through the holes on the side of the forefoot, and then the one on the right should go over top with the back one. To lie 3. Even if you end up clipping one of the back ones and rolling, still having both go, that's not a bad situation here.
So we have heavyweight here. Okay, looks like they, there we go, a replay.
Great shot by Evan there. Really change up the end.
What does it look like they're sitting now for?
Looks like they're sitting 4, so really change the dynamic at the end with a big shot from the skip.
Do we figure this might be a try for a nose hit to?
Yeah, Peter here is looking to get at least a double here, kind of negate the damage.
And again, probably heavyweight here. Normal, which possibly is 9 seconds.
Kills 1, but Evan's still sitting 3. So open draw to the forefoot for 4, and his last shot really changed the how the ends was played out.
So this last rock from the skip,
Mm-hmm.
coming in right for a possible 4.
Mm-hmm. Big sweep here.
Does have a pocket to come into. Yes, lots of sweeping, trying to drive that down.
Yeah. Great sweep, great team shot for Van Amsterdam to get a big 4-ender here to open up this men's semifinal. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back for the second end. And we're back at it with the second end here at the Platinum Anniversary Showdown. Team Van Amsterdam versus Team Hlushak. Really busy first end. Hey, Robert.
Very much so. This was quite aggressive for the first end. We've got a 4 on the board
For Van Amsterdam.
And so now we've got a guard, but again we have the Van Amsterdam coming in and being aggressive with placing rocks in the rings. Second shot here. It looks like they're coming around to guard, put this on the button and hide it behind their initial guard. And here they are trying to finish. Just didn't get in there fully to be covered. Looks like almost the full rock is open.
So you have Parker Harris throwing lead stones for the Hlushak team here today. And his Hlushak team just won the U18 provincial championships.
And where are they heading now that they've won that? Where in Canada do they go?
Saskatoon.
Oh,
Saskatchewan,
fantastic.
yes.
And I think I heard that was possibly in February?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And they play out of the Crestwood here, so home team
Oh,
on the men's side.
And where does their coach reside?
Croach has been, Red Reinhardt has been a long-time Crestwood member, life member here too, so I would argue that he resides in the bar upstairs. Not while he's coaching, though.
Oh, man, he must have an office at one of the desks. Well, good for them. Has this team been together for a couple years?
The lead and the skip of the Hlushak team have been together for a couple years, but some of their players from last year had aged out, and so the other two are new this year. Similar situation for the Van Amsterdam team. A couple of them had played together for a year or two or in different combinations, and so, but this is the first year for this iteration of the team. We have Sterling Middleton throwing second stones here right now, and Parker Conshu on the right was throwing lead for the Van Amsterdam team.
And I guess we have to say, for under 18 teams being involved in a major competition like that, these guys got to be pretty darn good to be able to compete in this against some of the senior teams and experienced teams. I believe we had a Cooey in the event.
Jamie Cooey was in it.
Okay, so and we've seen him several times in the Briar, have we not?
Oh yes. So, but a good showing from our U18 teams here this weekend. Team Yurko on the women's side also qualified for the quarterfinals, but they also won the U18 championships and will be going to Saskatoon in February.
Oh, fantastic. So Crestwood seems to have quite a good training center here then, and good coaches to be able to put a lot of the U18s up to championships.
Yeah, Abby Melke on the Yurko team plays out of the Crestwood, so.
Looks like they're going to try to draw to the back end. Try to bury it behind the three reds. And we should remind everybody, if you've got any comments or chats that you need to put through or like to put through, then we've got some people manning the computers in the center that can let us know if you've got any questions.
Big sweep here by Parker Harris, trying to get it to wrap around those red rocks in the top of the 12-foot.
close to buried, but it looks like they've got a quarter of a rock exposed.
That was Varric Depker throwing second stones for the Hlushak team.
And it looks like Van Amsterdam is still lying shot rock.
That's not something they need to worry about right away, opting for the run back here on the ones in the corners.
Now, do you feel that they were trying to remove just the blue guard?
I think they were trying to run back here to kill the one in the house as well. Doesn't quite get it. Leaves a corner guard for the Hlushak team to use on the other side of the sheet, though. So.
Okay, so it looks like they possibly choosing for a guard in the center, but we're not sure at the moment yet.
It's not a great situation for the Hlushak team. They need to get some of those top stones moving. They don't necessarily need to get them out of the rings, but kicking them back into kind of the 8 foot, the 12 foot out of the way so they have access to the 4 foot. I think in this case, opting for the double on those top two.
And that means splitting the two rocks with the blue, so the red would go
Both the
either
red
side?
spill, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a bad result. Changes up the angle, so it's a little bit harder for Van Amsterdam to get that one in the back of the blue, but again, that's not the one they're really worried about. Opting for the hit and roll, the probably lied 2. Again, with the stagger on those top rocks, if they make this roll perfect, the Hlushak team's going to be a couple shots away from being able to get at them. So, Jason Ginter throwing third stones for Team Van Amsterdam. Also a good time to give a shout out to their coach, Darren Molding, who isn't here at the event, but they asked us to give him a shout out.
That name sounds familiar.
The name does sound familiar. So.
And where does this team curl out of?
So they're from the Saville Center here in Edmonton.
Quite a good shot.
Yep. Again, see, having to make a play on those top ones. So, third, Jackson Hebert. He's been calling the game today, but still throwing third stones. Trying to rearrange the top of the house a little bit.
And this doesn't look like that heavy of a throw, so it could be just a tap to move the rocks.
Softer weight hit. You don't need to throw these too hard. They're a little bit harder to control, so you risk losing your shooter, and they kind of need their rocks to stick around at this point, so more of a controllable weight. Not a bad result, but hit and roll here for Evan again. Try and junk up the top of the 4 foot.
And then roll their red just in around the other two on the button.
Mm-hmm. Some of the sponsors here for Team Van Amsterdam: MVP Oilfield, Mountain View Safety Services, Big League Utilities, Papley Drilling, and Hardline Curling. So big thank you to their sponsors. It's really important and helpful to get some of that support to be able to compete at this level, and especially in multiple events. If your team's from out of town, it adds up really quickly. So big shout out to their sponsors.
Nice little hit and roll. It's under cover. It looks like they're going to have to try to clear the front end out here.
Good shot by Jason Ginter there. As we see Jackson try and rearrange the house, some sponsors for the Hlushak team: Chili's Industrial, Torchlight RV Park, NAR Environmental, Nick Bovin, Allstate Tony George, KRP, the Sherwood Park Curling Club, the Crestwood Curling Club, Nobrega Financial, and New Path Health.
Little hit here.
It's a pretty good result for Jackson there. Does leave the double on the red. It's a little thin, but gives them options, potentially an out.
Now, with you saying the double on the red, how would they throw their blue rock to remove both of them?
You're hitting the one on the center line real thin, but Evan's going to do something about that before they give him that chance.
And would that possibly hit the blue in the back?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so they'd be removing all the rocks, and then blue would be sitting too.
But again, Evan's shot, so they're gonna. Looks like they're looking to unlock it, maybe put it on the top or in the forefoot. If they can roll under like that, that's a pretty good result as Sterling signaling.
And would you consider this a risky shot?
Not really.
Okay.
Pretty early sweep here by Parker Conshu. Looks like it's really moving on them.
So we might have a tick off the top blue. We do.
Rolls into the side blue one, which is a really good result for the Van Amsterdam team. Peter gesturing to a little hit and roll over on top of the red one. With this ice, they're not throwing super big weight at it. Maybe trying to almost pick the red one over top of the blue one and not kick it back so far that it's not going to be second shot.
And he's got his broom down, which helps clean the in front of the rock in case there's any debris.
Yeah, hanging out there for a decently long time. Big finish attempt here for Parker. Doesn't quite curl enough.
Now, do you think it might be a nose hit, or do they want to do a little bit of a hit and roll?
Looks like they're gesturing at doubling one of their own in the blue one. So leaving Peter kind of the stone cold draw, not without any backing. So more so trying to make his shot harder, not so worrying about having to lie as many.
And because it is a 4-0 go in the first end, and Peter will have last rock, what is the strategy here? Will he have to take one?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
So there's the option of, if it was a cleaner end, would you take your one or blank? And in this case, especially this early in the game, you're going to blank to keep the hammer and try and generate your multiple. But in this case, giving up a steal is really going to dig yourself into a hole that's going to be hard to get out of. But he gets his one. It's going to be a bit of a battle, but still 6 ends left to play. Anything goes.
So it's pretty much a nose hit, and it is.
It's not a bad result again. Just if you make the shot called and kind of kill both the red, the blue, and then roll over, it's a harder shot for Peter for his one. At this point, it's a pretty routine hit for his single. And then Evan will carry hammer into the third end.
And Peter does want a nose hit here, so he does not roll out, and he stays shot.
Looks like it's hanging out there a little bit for him. And he makes it for his single. So it'll be 4-1 for Team Van Amsterdam heading into the third end. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back shortly.
All right. So we're
back for the second end with Team Van Amsterdam leading Team Hlushak 4-1, playing the third end, of the Platinum Showdown semifinal. You have Kate Goodhelpson and Robert Shaw on the mics for you today.
Hello, hello.
So Hlushak opting for the center guard, overcurls a little bit. But Van Amsterdam opting to come around as opposed to attempting the tick here on that center guard. So Hlushak team going for their 2 guards, utilizing the free guard zone to try and generate a potential for a steal here, but looks like this one's hanging out there, sliding deep too. So the top rock ideally you would have wanted either higher or deeper in kind of like that high or tight guard position. Halfway really makes it difficult to get your two guards set up and while making the double peel difficult, but slides deep and corner freezes. Evan still shot, asking Parker Conchu to just freeze on top of the blue one.
Hanging out there a bit, but here we go. Curling in nicely.
Yep, it's that late finish. You really, especially in this event, you really have to clear the guards by a decent amount in order to make the great buried. Otherwise, you're going to poke out the other side. So lots of curl here.
And with lots of curl, does that have to do with the rocks?
Rocks and ice. So they did paper the rocks, I think it was Monday before the event. So a lot more texture to help increase the curl. And then the way they're shaping the ice too will assist. So combination of both is the short answer.
And that definitely is a technique. If you have great ice, which I've heard from many people here that it has been great ice for this event. And who are our ice technicians here?
So we have our head ice tech, Nick Roy, has been kind of in charge of the ice for the whole season in this event. You have Dylan MP and Cody Holloway Chuck are kind of our full-time ice techs. And then lots of our part-timers too, helping throughout the season in this event. Yeah, definitely can't do it without the ice crew. They're working long hours for great ice here, so huge shout out to them again.
And I guess we do have to shout out again to our volunteers that have participated.
Yep.
On their own time.
Yeah, seen lots of volunteers out there sweeping up all the snow from the scrapes, so big thanks to them. So Evan Van Amsterdam making the double peel. The rocks are pretty close together, so routine shot. Now this draw here by Depker is hanging out there. Really seeing the Hlushak team on the finish side of the sweep, trying to make sure their rocks are curling up. So just running a touch straighter for them. Or slightly over icing, but the one thing that even my team noticed this weekend is the ice can be pretty release sensitive. So if you're a little bit softer or more back, they're going to run and track differently down the sheet. So just a difference in releases potentially between the two teams as to why we're seeing more and less curl. But
now he's holding his hand to his stomach. Usually what does that signify?
Normal weight. So
Normal
for
weight.
most teams, it's kind of in around the 9-second range. So, good. So they're taking the opportunity here, to tap on their own one first to kill the blue behind it. It's a little bit hard from our angle, but there is still a blue rock in between those two reds in the house.
There we go. Okay, they split
no
them
more
out.
though. Good shot there from Sterling Middleton.
So now it looks like red is sitting 3 rocks. Oh yes, they were happy about that. A little bit of fist pump.
Jackson Hebert with the trying to draw around to the back of the forefoot and use those ones close to the rings and in the top of the house as guards. So big sweep here. Little light potentially, but they're really carrying it.
Trying to
Great
get that
sweep.
finish.
Yeah, great sweep by Depker and Harris. Sticks out a little bit more than they were hoping.
Looks about half a rock.
Yeah, but and Amsterdam opting just to play the peel.
And that means to eliminate the top blue rock?
Yep.
Only?
Yep. I think they're just calling the single peel if they ever catch the blue one. That's not a bad result, though.
And a single peel weight would be usually what?
Depends on the teams, but we're talking hard.
Okay, so 8.
Even higher,
Even
so
higher.
probably like a 7 for these men's teams.
Okay.
So throwing up the guard. Take this opportunity to shout out one of the event sponsors, West Edmonton Mall. So for anyone who's been in Edmonton, you know it's a must-see, or if you're coming to visit, definitely go see it. It's North America's largest mall with more than 800 stores and services. There's 2 hotels and over 100 places to eat. And of course, it's not just for shopping that's family-oriented. There's multiple places for entertainment. It's home to the world's largest indoor amusement park and has an indoor water park that's over 5 acres in size, and a movie theater with 13 different screens, even mini golf. So, and of course, lots of free parking. So if you're in the Edmonton area or coming down for other events later in this season, definitely go check out West Edmonton Mall, and a big thank you to their support of the event.
And if you have 8 hours in the day, you can certainly spend all that time at West Edmonton Mall.
So nice guard by Jackson Hebert there for the Hlushak team. It was really hard to try and guard both angles at that blue one, right? So Evan's always going to have either this kind of red tap or coming in around it to get at that blue rock, or if you curl it farther to block that, then you leave that soft weight hit to just pick it out in the back. So
okay, so it looks like a normal weight that they're coming in with. And we have not seen a lot of draws in these ends.
First end, those kind of tap weight, hack waiters to kind of move things around, but really have better control over where your shooter's going, especially when you're trying to play like rolls and things. So finishing it up. Just catches enough of it to kick it out to be third shot. So Peter and Jackson debating on where they want to put this stone here. They do have the guard, but the 2 red stones in the 4-foot make it a little bit of a small scoring area to try and get into a good position. Too late. As Peter's coming down to throw his first. The Hlushak team had lots of spares this weekend, and they want to shout out a couple of them. One of them being Noah Mason Wood and Evan Asmussen. So they want to say thank you for coming to help them out.
There's Peter's first rock.
Trying to get to the top 4-1 and tap it a little bit, but staying buried.
Looks like he needs to curl it.
Hanging out there.
Just rolls over.
So it looks like they might be second shot still. So not the worst result. Leaves the potential for the jam if they were ever to get to the inside of the rock, but this is a pretty routine pick for Evan here.
All right, here we go. This is the first rock released.
Jason Ginter really holding that stone there to kick it straight through the hole. Great sweep by Jason there.
Pretty good hit and roll there.
Mm-hmm. Jackson suggesting the freeze on the back one. With how much it's moving off the center line on these sheets, it's hard to get there.
So are they going to try to come down and just sit on top?
I think they're just going to go straight around the corner. Or the center guard, sorry. Yeah. If they could have frozen to the back one, would be great, but just with how much the ice is moving, it's really tough spot to get to. You probably overcurl more often than not. So just a straight draw here. Try and lie buried. Force Evan to make a good shot.
All right, this is Peter's last rock.
Mm-hmm.
Needs the finish here.
Yeah, it looks like it's looking pretty good. Freezes to the back one almost. So Peter is still shot stone. But there's enough separation that Evan can pick it out. Even if he kills his back one, that's still
Now, when
a
you
good
mention
result.
separation, can you explain to the crew that are listening and watching what that means?
Yeah, so the separation is just a distance between the two rocks. And so in this case, there's a couple inches. We don't have a perfect overhead, so I'm estimating about 6 between that blue one and the red one. So when they're a lot closer, it's really hard to throw it hard enough to remove both stones, so especially if they're frozen, so touching. But in this case, enough to pick it out. Even if you come off the red one a little bit, there's enough distance that it should still roll out to score probably 2. Evan doesn't have much of it from the hack, though. It's almost like perfectly buried. So again, we're seeing that soft weight hit. Looks like it's hanging out. Oh. Really curling there at the end. So again, does come off that other red one, but looks like a score of 2 for Evan. Great shot.
That's bringing the score up to 6-1.
Yeah, we'll confirm once they hang the score, but it looks like 2 from our angled overhead. So really great shot from Evan. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back shortly for the 4th end.
All right, so we've confirmed that it is 6-1.
Yep. So we're playing the fourth end here in the semifinal of the Platinum Anniversary event here at the Crestwood Curling Center. It's 6-1 for Team Van Amsterdam at this point. So after a great shot by Evan on his last to get that 2 after a pretty good freeze attempt by Peter Hlushak. So.
And first rock is thrown for a guard here.
For the
While
Hlushak
Van
team.
Amsterdam seems to be quite aggressive with each end and placing the first rocks within the rings.
Yeah, so I wouldn't consider that necessarily aggressive. So by placing them in the rings, it's fair game for them to be hit. The more aggressive call would be to throw out the centers, but when you're up this high, you really don't need those. Up by this many points, sorry, you really don't need to have more guards in play, and so by getting your rocks into a good spot, so like that T-line top 4 and then another one top 12, it's going to have to force the Hlushak team to remove those stones at some point. With them having hammer, they kind of want to keep the play to the wings to try and open up the center as much as possible. So essentially kind of opposite strategies here right now.
So at what point will Team Hlushak start hitting?
It kind of depends on how the setups at the end are looking, but you're usually kind of looking into when you need to generate a good multiple here. You're probably looking kind of at like second, thirds, first, even third, second, really, depending on how the end's developing. If they get a miss from the Van Amsterdam team, they might push it a little bit later. But again, they're going to be fighting Evan peeling off their guards. Sliding deep here. It's not the best result. Evan's just going to hit it.
And he's going to try to put his rock in play?
Yeah. And so with the free guard zone now too, after this, like the guards are fair play. And so unfortunately, not a great unforced error there for the Hlushak team.
Straight up nose hit.
Mm-hmm.
Was he wanting a little bit of a roll, do you figure, with that particular one, or are you comfortable with staying out in the wings there?
Yeah, you're comfortable with staying in the wings. Looks like they're calling for Depker to play the split here, and so kicking that red rock back behind the side red one, something they could potentially freeze to later in the end, and then rolling their shooter, their blue stone, behind their corner guard. Again, without that other corner guard, it's going to be a lot harder to generate the multiple, but looks like this is really curling on them. Might be playing it the other way at this point, the plan B as they would call it.
And I noticed a lot of rotation in that particular rock. How does that help or not?
So usually rotation means they might run a little bit straighter, but might not have been the cleanest release from Depker considering how much that curled, but Van Amsterdam's going to peel the guard. Catching the side one, but really doesn't matter too much for them. So, Hlushak team throwing up another guard. But I'd also like to shout out Team Sturmey, who won the women's event yesterday.
Oh, fantastic.
So the women's side of this event ran from Friday to Sunday. The men's running Saturday to Monday. But yeah, congratulations to Team Selena Sturmey for winning the women's side of the event yesterday.
And with winning that event, does it add any points, or does it help them move further towards a larger event in the future?
So the events like this are mostly just for points and cash. And so first place gets $5,000 on the women's side, just more teams, so a larger purse. And then of course there's always points for these events. So yeah, nice win by them. Well played. Yes. Sunday. The quarters, the semis, and the final were all on the same day, so 3 games in a row. But yes, big congrats to them. Another routine peel here. I think this is also a great time to shout out one of our other sponsors. So Bassett Petroleum is proudly sponsoring this event. They are a Northern Aboriginally owned company serving communities across Alberta and the Northwest Territories, specializing in bulk fuel transportation, petroleum, and lubricant distribution. Bassett is committed to delivering reliability, safety, and top-notch service in the harshest conditions. Bassett Petroleum is more than a fuel supplier. They are part of the community. And that is definitely evident in their support for this event. So a big thank you to Bassett Petroleum.
All right, so it looks like what they're doing here is trying to draw in. And again, it's just not curling for them.
Mm-hmm. See both of them switching to that curl side to really try and get it to move. It does finish up at the end, but a little bit light for where they wanted it to end up. Poking open, Evan just a routine pick again. Parker Conchu with the sweep here. And a nice shot by Jason Ginter. Jackson Hebert throwing the center guard, or the come around again, sorry.
They're both keeping the brooms down in front of the rock to ensure that it's clean. They're sweeping now.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit
Just
of a
sliding.
heavier weight than they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it's hanging around though, but just a quick score update for our other semifinal. Team Dunbar is up 4-3, sorry, on Team Davies playing the fourth end. If you're interested more in seeing that game, it is being streamed on our YouTube channel, so you can find it there at the Crestwood Curling Center's YouTube channel.
Well, this looks like a draw weight.
Looks like they're just kind of coming on top, guarding it, capping any attempt at a double here. Because again, that Hlushak stone is still just hanging on, I think. So making the double a lot harder to try and sit to. Looks like they're going to play soft weight to try and kind of rearrange, maybe just move that top one as close as they can get to making sure that they remove the stone but not roll too far.
This is Peter's first rock. This is a skip.
Parker Harris on the sweep, trying to hold the line.
Makes it by. Hit and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And the red is out.
Yep. So Evan just debating where to roll to try and make the double attempt as hard as they can. even if they were to give up 2 here, they're still in control of this game, so they'd be up 3 with hammer.
And with it being 6-1, how much does that play strategically and mentally on the Van Amsterdam team?
It's one of the ones where they definitely have to stay focused. They are in control of this game. And so just making sure that they're still executing cleanly. It's definitely, the game is in their advantage, but it wouldn't be the first time I've seen teams lose focus and start to kind of miss those routine shots, but they haven't been showing any signs of that today too. They've been executing very well, so. Jason Ginter with the sweep.
And Peter trying to sweep as much to get that red rock out, but it curled back in. Now would this be they'd be coming just doing a hit and roll?
No, they're looking to line up the double here. Trying to get their 2 is kind of of the utmost importance. So rolled a little bit farther than Evan wanted it to, but still rolled to a not a bad spot. So you can see Jackson trying to line up to see if they can punch the red one almost through the hole.
For a double? Now, is there
Yeah.
any chance of the red on the button right now jamming on their blue?
Yes. So that's what they're trying to line up to see if they can kind of shimmy them through without touching that blue one, but it's definitely a difficult shot coming up here for Peter.
And here's the last rock from Peter. Oh, it looks like it's curling.
Bunch of the yes, no, so you know it's probably close. And just stuffs it, so it's just the one for Peter Hlushak. So Evan Van Amsterdam is up 6-2 on the Hlushak team going into the 5th end. We're going to take a quick break and then we will be back for the 5th end. Welcome back for the 5th end of this semifinal game. As the end starts off, we do have another sponsor shout out for the event. So Gator Construction Group is thrilled to be sponsoring this event and offers design, build, construction services. Gator also has concrete restorations, coating, and hydro demolition robot divisions and services all Western Canada. Head to gatorbuilt.ca to learn more. Big thank you to Gator Construction Group for sponsoring this event. Fortunately, the guard attempt slipping deep on this one, so Evan's team opting to just rip it out. Nose hit.
And it looks like that rock made it into the rings.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that allows Team Hlushak to go after.
No, they're going to be
take it
throwing
out,
up guards.
But they're going to be throwing guards.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they need rocks in play at this point. So looking like they're trying to go for a tight guard. Fortunately, slipping deep on the first one, so it's going to be harder to get their 2 centers up. But you can use that red rock because it's high enough in the rings to kind of act as a guard as well. So you're going to see Evan go around again, not being able to hit yet because of the free guard zone and no tick rule. Sliding a little deeper than they called for, but still not in a bad position, something that the team's going to have to deal with. So Hlushak team taking advantage of that opportunity to try and slide one around again, using that other red rock as a guard.
And would they be placing it on the button?
Yeah.
And
Really good sweep.
And the curl on that rock was quite good.
Oh, yeah. So they froze to the back one, which makes it a little bit harder to, or not quite froze to the back one, but it's close enough that it's a little bit harder to remove. So even though it's a little bit deeper than ideally you'd want, it's not in a bad position. Van Amsterdam team just going for the peel. So at this point in the game, when you kind of see a little bit of a lopsided score, the calls are almost routine, right? So the team trying to generate is either going to be throwing up their guard, center, or corner, then trying to come around if there's opportunities after misses. And the team that's up just trying to keep it as clean as possible, usually ignoring the rocks in the back, even if it is shot, just to make sure that they clear up the front so their skip has an opportunity for an easy shot for one at the end of the end. Another guard coming up here.
Good weight, no sweeping required. And this is another peel.
Yep. They might be trying to clip both of them now that there's less separation, so those 2 guard rocks are closer together, but looks like it's just going to be the straight peel based on... Oh. So they do remove both stones, but the shooter's still sitting there, so something that can be used as a guard. Again, yeah, Peter tapping, calling to come around, try and sit 2.
And now would he want to sit tight to the other blue, or what would be the best position?
You'd want to try and be like top 4, top button, because right now Evan could come down and just draw on top of that back blue for shot. So you want to be a little bit higher that they'll have to move it to get shot. But it looks like this one's running a little bit out there, really trying to finish it over. And leaves the double for the Van Amsterdam team.
And what sort of weight do you figure he's going to be throwing here? For a double,
good normal.
typically.
Usually a normal to a firmer weight. Parker Conchu on the sweep here. And a nice shot by Jason Ginter. So even killing the back one there is not bad because, again, it minimizes the rocks that the Hlushak team could use to try and generate a steal here. And so the fact that they're still sitting on the tee line, at some point, Peter's team is going to have to actually tap or move that red rock. At this point, they're just calling for the straight freeze to use it as backing, make Evan's shots a little harder. It's a good sweep by the Hlushak team. A little bit of separation.
And what are they calling for here? It looked like a top guard.
Freezing on top, but it looks like they're kind of debating either trying to nose hit the blue one. They would probably kill the red and the blue, which isn't a bad spot. Yeah. Or the straight pick.
Seems to be a little bit of a discussion still.
Mm-hmm. Just figuring out the safest way to remove this stone. Playing the run back potentially now, which also is a really good result. But as they discuss this, we have another sponsor shout out. Everlast Plumbing and Heating is proud to sponsor this event and support the local community. With over 13 years of experience serving central and northern Alberta, they are dedicated to providing safe, reliable, and top quality plumbing, heating, and gas fitting services. At Everlast, they're committing to ensuring both client satisfaction and safety on every project. Your trusted choice for all things plumbing and heating. So big thank you to Everlast Plumbing and Heating for their support of this event. And Van Amsterdam just peeling a guard, which plays well. Keeping it open. Again, Peter's team still has to move that rock on the tee line to get shot. So
would this play be coming down to nose it or just be off to one side to run the red out and ensure that the two blues are still in the rings?
So they're probably not looking to actually run the red out, just tap it back a couple inches so they can sit shot. Again, if that rock's still in play, it leaves the opportunity for the Van Amsterdam to potentially jam if they're trying to get at those blue rocks. So they're probably playing like a back house weight and just kind of tap things around a little bit. Going to be difficult to not leave a double on their blue. But yeah, you don't necessarily need to kill the red stone here. It can help you.
And this is Peter's first rock.
Really trying to get this to move over. And just under curls. Seen a few under curls from the Hlushak team today. Just running a little straighter for them than they're expecting.
Now, is that any particular rock, or is that just overall within the team?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a little bit more for the team in general, so it's probably not a pinpoint to the rock. The ice might be a little bit different than what they played on yesterday. Of course, scraping patterns, humidity, temperature controls all can play an effect. It also seems like they're throwing with they're throwing them a little more positive, a little more back than the Van Amsterdam team. So they would have to be taking a little bit less ice than them. So if they're trying to base their broom off there, they might not be making that adjustment. But also at this point too in the game, like it's an uphill battle when you're down like this. So like everything they have to be throwing is needs to be perfect. So there's no room for error. It's a difficult situation to be in. Evan with a double attempt. And a nice shot by Evan Van Amsterdam.
And success in their red. Possibly it sticks around in the rings.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have a bit of a discussion. You draw on the button.
Yeah.
That might be the call. And this is the last rock for the skip, Peter. Keeping it clean and sweeping somewhat.
The on-off by the sweepers is a good sign that the weight is close. Needs to finish up a little bit for them. And again, just touch heavy and a little bit of that under curl routine hit for Evan coming up here.
So last rock.
Jason Ginter on it early.
The nose hit there and possibility for two. Oh, here we have some handshakes.
It definitely two, might be three for Evan with the one hanging on the rings there, but handshakes. So Evan Van Amsterdam will move on to the final of this event at 12:30 here, Mountain Time. Well played game by their team, but also kudos to the Hlushak team, a U18 team making the quarterfinals in a men's event. So before we sign off, we have one more sponsor shout out. The RMC group of companies is locally owned and operated, proudly supporting the local community for over 30 years. The RMC group prides itself with providing a portfolio of products and services to the construction industry. The heart of the group being ready-mix concrete, supplying any concrete requirement you may have. RMC has grown over the years to offer products and services such as aggregates, precast items, residential flatwork and foundation packages, screw piles, fabricated brackets, construction materials, fiberglass rebar, and dry bulk transportation. The RMC Group is committed to the highest level of service, quality, and safety within its support of the local community. They're very proud to sponsor this event as they continue their local support, and a huge thank you to them for sponsoring this event. Once again, the final will be played at 12:30. Update for the other semifinal. It is tied at 4, Dunbar and Davies playing the 5th end. Again, you can find that stream also on our YouTube page. This has been Kate Goodhelpson
And Robert Shaw.
For the commentary today, and we will be signing off and hopefully see you at 12:30.
Take care, everyone, and thanks for listening and watching.